Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the DJI OSMO Pocket. Now, for those of you that follow my channel, you already know I love this little thing. It is unlike anything on the market. It's a performer. Yes, it's not perfect, but DJI has continued to support this thing like nobody's business. And I think it's because they know that they are onto something here. This is something that really can be universally enjoyed by just about any age group, any human being that wants to capture a moment on the fly and have it look, I would say, watchable. I'm not going to say professional looking because of the gimbal mechanism. I'm going to say watchable. This will make you better than you are. It's just really that simple. I mean, as long as you don't really go crazy with it, but it's going to take your videography to the next level as long as you have the right filter on board, and maybe, buy in to the actual control for the gimbal itself, like I have on here right now. It's expensive at $60 US, but I think well worth it. After all, it took me a long time to finally bite, but I did. But today's video is about the Ulanzi wide-angle lens. I put up a sample from when I was in New York, in Manhattan, and really, for $15, I don't think you can go wrong with this. The sample definitely showed that it is not going to enhance sharpness or clarity. In fact, like any fisheye, which is what this is really comparable to, even though it doesn't look like a fisheye on the Ulanzi, you're losing quite a bit of information. Very soft, not just around the edges, but almost to the center of your shot. And that is a problem, but it really depends on what you're actually shooting. That's how I'd put it. So, to give you a working example, the footage I posted online in Madison Square Park, it really just demonstrated the fact that as soon as you throw this little guy on here, your clarity, your sharpness is lost. You do gain field of view, no question about it. I mean, the Flatiron building you could not see the top of it. Once I put this on, you were able to. You definitely do gain field of view. And I think that's my biggest personal gripe with the Osmo Pocket, is that I would like a wider angle next time around. So I was really hoping for a $15 solution. This would be not perfect, because I don't expect it to be. It's $15. You can't really set your expectations incredibly high. But in spite of how soft it made things, it did accomplish something that is important. So most of the feedback I got from those of you that watched the sample were, oh my God, why would I want this? And I understand why. That's the purpose of that test. But I will tell you that there are instances where this does work nicely. And I know because I used it. That's what I do here, for those of you unfamiliar with the channel. So, point in case here, case in point. For example, I was filming my niece while she was riding around on a Razor scooter. And it was a blessing to have the wider angle with this lens. She stayed sharp. She stayed in focus because she was the center of the frame. But, had I shot that without this little wide angle lens adapter, inherently the footage would have looked worse. It would have basically just been a tight shot of her head, which all still would have been sharp and clear, but there would be no surroundings. There would be no context in that piece of video. Because I have this lens, I was able to accomplish that. So that's an example of where, in spite of the fact that it is only sharp at the center of this wide-angle adapter, it could be important contextually to the shot that you're setting up. In that case where I was chasing, running alongside my niece, who is a little baby, basically, she is, but that allowed me to frame her properly. She was still in focus. And I didn't care that the surroundings of the park were soft, if not blurry, because the center of attention was the center of attention. Now, if you're trying to just get a wider shot and do landscape or architectural or basically any other video where you aren't going to have a center focal point like that, this isn't for you. It's not going to work out. It's just you're going to end up wishing you hadn't used it. That's how I look at it. So, far from perfect. I think well worth the price of entry, because the example I gave, I think, is an example that is universal in terms of utility. I think so many people out there, because it's a gimbal, and that's the beauty, is that you can run with the subject, walk quickly, whatever it may be. You don't have to run, you can just walk. You're going to get smooth footage. And if you do have a center or a central point of focus, this is still going to achieve that, but give you a larger picture so that you're not so cropped in and feel like you're getting the 60-minute shot all the time, which is something that inherently happens with the Osmo Pocket. So you eliminate the 60-minute shot at the expense of losing sharpness. Things do get mushy, they get soft, even a little bit blurry, as you saw in my example. But again, it really depends on the look you're trying to achieve. And in some instances, I think that the soft image that this produces could be something whimsical that someone's going to want to use on an artistic level rather than the practical utility that I just explained with framing my niece while she was on her Razor, scooter going around the park. So it all depends. But again, at $15, I don't think you can go wrong. Please remember, you do not want to actually put this on magnetically to your Osmo Pocket until it has powered up and actually, adjusted, centered itself, calibrated. Because if you do that, you are going to throw off the calibration, because this is an extra piece of weight that DJI did not program this to accommodate. Would I like to see DJI produce their own wide-angle adapter? Absolutely. Clearly, that was not part of the picture. We would have seen something by now. But it's cool that we have an option like this from Ulanzi. It's affordable. And so that's the rub, folks, is that it's not going to give you perfection, but it will allow you to achieve a different look without breaking or harming the Osmo Pocket. You just have to know its limitations. And from what I've experienced, I think it's worthwhile. It's something that I would purchase with my own money, in spite of the fact that it was furnished to me by the manufacturer for review purposes. That pretty much covers the wide-angle adapter from Ulanzi. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.